know, all of April recognizes the importance of organ donation as National Donate Life Month. This week is extra special. It's National Pediatric Transplant Week. The donation of an organ to a child is not only a life-saving gift to them, but also a gift to their families. Today, we are speaking with a mother who knows this firsthand. Vanessa Motta from Motta Law is here to talk about why this week is so important to herself and her family. Welcome to the show, Vanessa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I think you and your family's story is so inspiring. So I want to start with that. Your daughter, Julia, actually was a recipient. Tell me a little bit about her story and how is she doing today?
So yes, my daughter had a kidney and liver transplant August 15th, 2021. And she pretty much, we've known since the day she was born that was going to happen. And the path of pediatric transplant is a whole different world for it. She is doing wonderful. It's been pretty amazing to see a new shine of light on her and the fact that she doesn't have the limitations that she once had. So the little girl in her is coming out.
Love it. Wow. So you're really celebrating 1 year since the transplant. And was it just one transplant or was it more than one?
So they did a liver and a kidney, both at the same time. And so for that situation, it comes from a deceased donor. If it was just a liver, though, you'd have the opportunity of doing it from a live donor.
Wow, congrats to her and to you and your entire family. I want to talk a little bit more about pediatric transplants. How many children require organ transplants?
Well, as of right now, there's about 1,900 on a list, and 25% of them are under 5 years old. And a new person is on a list every 9 minutes.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Yeah, we have some stats we want to show everyone. 1,900 children under the age of 18 are currently waiting for a variety of organs, and more than 25% of them are under 5 years old. A big point here, organ size is critical to a successful transplant. Can you talk a little bit about that for me?
Yeah, so there's multiple tests that they do. The first is the size, because obviously the smaller the child, the more complicated it can be. So depending on the organ that they do, they have to check that as far as the size. Then you have, of course, the blood type. And then on top of that, you have to do what's called the tissue testing. And that's when they determine if the tissue of the donor is matching with the recipient. So it comes a lot into it depending on what organ they need a transplant.
And you know, for me, watching a lot of TV shows and movies that discuss transplants, I noticed that always a big hurdle are the waiting list. How does the pediatric transplant waiting list work, and how long did your daughter have to wait?
So that's a great question. So my daughter actually was extremely lucky because she's a dual transplant, and so they have her in a different category. But if it's just one organ, right now the average span is 3 to 5 years for like a kidney, and it actually becomes for longer and longer as they get older. There's no different gap as far as the age of a child. So it's from infancy until 17 years old. They're in the same category, but it's 3 to 5 years as of right now.
Is there a precedence, like they've been on the list longer than my child, so they get first pick, or it really depends on the situation?
So it coincides with the, I guess, the level that they are as far as how far along their disease or condition is. They do this test factor every 6 months. Sometimes it's even every 3 months, where they determine the percentage of their condition. And so the lower they are, then the higher up they are on the list.
Wow. And you know, this is something I did not know, but children can actually register to be an organ donor. There are some factors there. What can you tell us about that?
So obviously, you know, parents have the final say of a child, and the hospitals want to make sure that everybody is safe and sound and the children are fully knowing what's going on. But the beauty is that these children can actually put themselves on the donor list, and the parents have the final say when that occurs until they're 18 years old. And they can give good to someone else. It can be anything from liver, kidney, tissue. There are so many factors involved now where you can get a partial liver of someone and still have a successful and healthy life.
And what age can they start registering to be a donor?
So it depends on the state, and it also depends on the parent if they want to allow them. But essentially, it can be anywhere from a double-digit number from 10 and up.
Wow. Well, Vanessa, I want to say congratulations to you and to Julia on her dual transplant. I'm so happy to hear that she is doing well. Thank you for being here. And hey, if you want more information about pediatric transplants and to register to become an organ donor, you can log on to donatelife.net.